Hey Internet friends, I'm Ryan, and this is Demos in the Dark. Tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. About a week ago, I put up a photo of my current pedal board on Instagram, and I got flooded with messages on my phone about the thing in the upper right corner. The thing that looks like the Art Deco box. And people were asking me to explain to them what it was. And I really can't. So I'm just going to show you. So a few months ago, I was in a similar position that those people emailing me on Instagram were in. I saw a photo of Mark Johnson's board, and I saw this green thing on it, and I went, that's weird. What is that? And then it just started showing up everywhere. And I finally just asked, what is this thing? They're like, oh, that's the 29 pedals Euna. I'm like, okay, cool. What does it do? And everybody's like, oh, it acts like a buffer. Like, but it's not a buffer. No, it's not a buffer, but it acts like a buffer. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. So I reach out to 29 pedals. I'm like, hey, tell me about your buffer. And they're like, it's not a buffer. And I'm like, what is it? I'm like, well, it's a Unity amplifier. And I was like, that sounds like fancy talk for buffer. Turns out it is actually not a buffer. It is engineered very differently than a buffer is engineered. It does act like a buffer. And while I don't know what it does exactly, and while I don't know how it does it, I do know that I couldn't imagine continuing on without it. And that's what I'm going to show you tonight. All right, so here's my very messy pedal board. I always get a little bit nervous showing my pedal board on here. It's kind of like when, somebody comes to pick you up and they're like, hey, can I use your bathroom? And you're like, it's not clean. Can you hold it? That's how it feels when I show this messy pedal board. But it's very useful and it's mine, so whatever. Up in the corner, we have the 29 pedals Euna. And that is the very first thing in my chain. The input is actually on the side of the board and is routed up. That is the first thing that my guitar signal hits. I am running a Scythe Guitars OH20 into a Benson Amps Monarch reverb. Sounds like this. So that was noticeable, no? Yes, very noticeable. Essentially what you're doing here is you are bringing your guitar level up to what it would be if you're running the shortest cable humanly possible into your amplifier, didn't have all of these other pedals and things, and that is what it is doing. And it works great. I mean, obviously it works great just going straight into your amplifier, but also it will make your pedals sound better. So let's start with the Benson preamp. Yeah? No. Yes. Of course. So let's just go next to it. I have a Sputnik 3. A Sputnik 3, just for the record, has an input buffer. So you can use pretty much anything. We'll get to germanium fuzzes a little bit later. But here's Sputnik 3 on its own. Better. Arguably better. Let's do some delay and reverb. I got a Alexander quadrant here and Eventide H9. Let's dial something up on this disaster area. DPC4. Kind of feels like you took a wet blanket off, right? I mean, like, gosh, that is just nuts. So let's do a couple of different things. Let's go back to that Sputnik. We'll have some delay going. So the dip switches on there, H, B, and L, that is for harmonics, brights, and lows. And basically it accentuates those kinds of frequencies. I think they all sound really great if you just have them all the way up. But let's turn them all the way down and turn them up one at a time. All right, so fuzzes. If you are subscribed to this channel, you probably like fuzzes, and you probably like them to be really fussy old germanium fuzzes, because that's kind of what we do a lot of around here. So I have the Saguaros from Spruce Effects here, which is a vintage style germanium fuzz pedal. And the way that 29 pedals kind of thought ahead on this for us fuzz users is they built in an effects loop into the pedal right here. And it's a true bypass effects loop. So you can run your germanium fuzzes, you're as finicky as the most finicky germanium fuzz pedal that you have, you can run that in the effects loop. It will not be affected by the Euna one bit. I will show you here. So you go. That's a brief look at what the Euna does. Like I said, I don't know how it does it, but it literally makes everything sound better. It makes it sound richer. It makes it sound fuller. It makes it sound more dynamic. It just makes everything sound better. So I recognize that it is not a small pedal, and I recognize that I had to make a decision about two pedals to fit this thing on here, and it's worth it. To me, it's worth it. Might not be worth it to you, but to me, the fidelity that you get from the Euna, it's absolutely worth it. So that's all I got. Do some more research on your own. I'll put a link to the 29 pedals kind of official video about what the Euna is. It's a lot of engineer talk. So if you know what that stuff means, you check that out.